In the WWE right now, Dolph Ziggler, along with, this new monster in Drew McIntyre. Dolph may be coming up. I like Dolph. I like his new attitude. I like the new look. As far as having that, what we call a heater. You know what I'm saying? That's what I should have used on television last Monday night. See, Drew McIntyre is that new heater, you know what I mean, backing up my man Dolph Ziggler. And I always thought Dolph Ziggler needed, a pad, you know what I mean, something to, shade him just a little bit. It's almost kind of like, Shawn Michaels with Diesel, those two, that combination, that look, it felt good. And I think this look right here, this new look with Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, I think that is the new Shawn Michaels and the new Diesel of the WWE. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, when did Drew McIntyre get so big? I don't ever remember him being that big.
Can I just tell you, I think all the guys have gone and they're really believing in that Jinder Mahal diet. I don't know, it's something that they got, it's from India. You know what I mean? It's got something in it. I can't remember the name of it, but a guy tried to bring me some of it back in the day, a few year or so ago. He wanted me to try it. I'm like, look, man, I ain't got time to be trying that. But Jinder is on it, and he got all the guys buying into it. Look at Jinder Mahal. He looks great, doesn't he?
Drew looks phenomenal.
Look at Drew McIntyre. He looks great, doesn't he? All these guys, they're buying in.
Yeah, I mean, Drew McIntyre looks bigger and looks more like a star than I've ever seen him before.
He's lean. You know what, man?
Think about it. Back to 3B. He looked like the weakest of the three.
I talked to Drew McIntyre, and he said, the time away actually did him a whole lot of good to go out there and hone his craft. Drew McIntyre was 18, 19 years old.
He was super young when he got signed.
Super young when he first got signed. He said that pressure, not really knowing exactly what he was getting himself into, it affected him. And we've talked to, a lot of the young guys, like the what's his name? I mean, what am I thinking about? Just Incredibles, guys that's gotten into it at such a young age. You may not remember Louis Spicolli. Louis Spicolli was another young, ECW guy back in the day who was on the rise to become like a big. Right now, if Louis Spicolli, God rest his soul, if Louis Spicolli still was alive, he would be like a cult wrestler. He would be like a Kurt Cobain of the business. People would just come out just to, be a part of. That's what, I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, back to Drew McIntyre, though. Drew McIntyre was one of these guys. He came in super young. He was, he had that title thrown on him of being Vince McMahon's chosen one.
How much pressure is that?
That's a lot of pressure. When Vince McMahon is like, yeah, you're my chosen one, and, you're 18 years old.
You're my guy. Just that alone, make you don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
And you don't know if you should have like this false sense of confidence or you should be afraid.
You got the brass ring already. Just wear it.
And that's what Drew McIntyre had to do. And you know what? He kind of fell short of it. I mean, he fell short of expectations in that first run. Now coming back, going through NXT first. Remember, he was in TNA. Then he goes to NXT. Looks great. I saw him there when he lost the NXT championship to Andrade Cien Almas here in Houston. I was like, man, Drew McIntyre is so good. Like, his work is solid, and then he's bigger now. He feels like a bigger deal. And now with Dolph Ziggler, I don't really like the pairing, to be honest with you.
I love the pairing, man.
I like Drew McIntyre.
You know what I like about Drew more than anything right now is like you say, first time around, I don't think he was ready for it. First and foremost, it was a huge spot for a young man to be in. It could have literally flipped his life upside down. The business literally could chew you up and spit you out. To go and make that TNA run, and then to go out there on the road to work his way back. What I see with Drew McIntyre more than anything, just like with Jinder Mahal right now, what I see with these guys more than anything is their confidence level is through the roof. They feel like they, are born leaders now on the roster. They feel like they should be in the position that they're in. And I tell you, I had the same thing happen to me when I became, world champion. I knew that I was on the next level. When I became world champion, I knew that, hey, man, I had made it. Just to tell a little bit of story right here, when I became world champion, I rode up to the building one day, and Lex Luger and Buff Bagwell, they were in front of me, and I can't remember the town we were in. But Buff Bagwell and Lex Luger, when they got to the gate, the guy, willed them to go down, in the back to park. And then when I came up, he told me to go park in the parking garage. So I
went, like the fans park or where?
Yes, I went back in and I made a big huff about it. And I said, "Where's the security?" And the security pointed at the other security. He said, "He's in charge today." And I say, "Hey, look, man, I don't care, if Booker T, has to go and park, over in the parking garage, but the world champ, he doesn't." It's a difference. You know what I mean? I wasn't talking about Booker T. I was talking about the world champion. You know what I mean? My confidence level went through the roof. I knew exactly who I was. That's the moral to this story here. I'm telling you a story. All right? I'm telling you a story. Just listen to it. And so that's what I see with Jinder Mahal. That's what I see with Drew McIntyre. These guys' confidence now feel, Jinder as champion, he looked the part. He played the part very well. He looked the part. And you want to hate this man. You say, man, I can't stand him. That lets me know he's doing a great job. So I see both of these guys doing great things since now coming. Hey, guys like Kevin Owens, guys like Sami Zayn, these guys got competition now. Guys like Finn Balor, it's competition on the roster.
I mean, the rosters right now are probably the most stacked they've been.
AJ Styles, there's a lot of competition on the roster right now where guys got to step up and go out there and perform at a very, very high level if they are to be looked at as champion.
Yeah, I mean, but to go back to it, there's so many guys now who could be champion, right? Who you could see as a world champion, I mean, eventually, we've seen Jinder already do it. Drew, I can see being in there. Then you got a guy like Miz who's feeling that role again.
Miz looks great. And I think Miz is going to be great for that SmackDown brand.
I think so.
Miz is going to be able to create his own wing on SmackDown like he's never been able to do before. Just like when I went to SmackDown, it became the SmackDown Kingdom. It became the SmackDown world. It became the games were great, when I went over to SmackDown. And overall on Raw, I just couldn't do the same things that I could do on SmackDown. I couldn't get over as big as I could over on SmackDown. So I see this being a good thing for The Miz.
And I think it's a great thing for The Miz, and I think it's a great thing for the fans because we get to finally see Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. We've been waiting on this one for a long time. Remember when we had The Miz on the show back in Vegas?
Yeah.
He was talking about that promo that he did against Daniel Bryan that really put him on the map again in the fans' eyes. Now we get to see a payoff for it. Are you invested? Do you want to see a Miz Daniel Bryan?
I really don't care about seeing that match. Honestly,
why not?
You know what I mean?
Why not?
I have nothing invested in that match. I mean, Daniel Bryan, I'm glad he's back. Like I say, I just hope Daniel Bryan treads very, very thin water. Make sure he knows what he's doing, man. But, Daniel Bryan, he's been there. The Miz, he's been there. Those guys, they already have stamped their card. You know what I mean? Those guys are bona fide. They're solidified. They're there. I'm thinking about the guys like Elias. You know what I mean? A dual superstar, a guy that can go out and do a concert at midnight, but at 9:00 he was in the main event. You know what I mean? On SmackDown or Raw or something.
Did he do like some performance on Bourbon Street?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, the guy's good. He's real good. So I mean, guys like that. You know what I mean? Watching him and Bobby Roode on Monday night, made me feel good about the business and where the business is going. And then to see Elias, get a big win, a guy who was not touted to be coming out of NXT to be one of the best guys on the roster. I mean, if anyone who should get performer of the year coming out of NXT, it's Elias.
I think he definitely overdid expectations.
He overachieved, man.
Yeah.
He made people see the business the way it used to be, man. I mean, right now he's an awesome
Who does he remind you of? Like, if you had to compare him to somebody from back in the day, does he remind you of anybody off the top of your head?
You know what? That's the beauty of Elias, so much has been done in this business, but when I look at Elias, he reminds me of no one. He's not like, a honky tonk man. You know what I mean? He's not like,
Jeff
Jarrett or anything like that. You know what I mean? He's got his own feel because it's real. He actually can play the guitar. He actually knows what it's like to play music. I catch him in the back in dark corners, sometimes, just strumming to one of those sad ballads.
Yeah, he's playing the blues or something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, this guy's, he's got that cold feel to him, you know what I mean? He's got that real feel to him. And when I watch Elias go out and perform, the fans, they want to walk with Elias, you know what I mean? And the reason why they want to walk with Elias because this kid, and he's not a kid, this young man, he has something. I got beat up on Twitter this week for calling, guys over 30 kids. So I need to stop saying, guys over 30.
What if they are kids?
I felt like a kid when I was 30, So, but Elias, man, Elias is he's my guy. I like him.
I like Elias too. I just hope that, do you think, okay, when Cena came in, right, and he was the rapper guy, that got him to a certain level. And then in order for him to continue to be, a big deal, he had to kind of shed that character. He had to get rid of the rap character, because it just didn't feel like a main event level thing. Do you think that Elias will have to shed the guitar and the music and the singing in order to advance?
I think with Elias, instead of him, kind of like MC Hammer, instead of him turning it down, he's got to pump it up. You know what I mean? He's got.
Like, where's he going with this MC Hammer?
No, I say that because MC Hammer was, opening act, and a lot of the main event acts, they were sending, A&R and people, and tell them, hey man, you need to go tell, Hammer to, he's got to turn it down, man. And Hammer's people say, hey man, Hammer ain't turning it down. He's pumping it up. And that's what a song, pump it hard. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
Because Hammer said, hey man, I'm trying to get to that main event spot. So I think with Elias, I think his music, and his artistry is going to take him so much further than wrestling, going out and doing it in the ring ever could. I really do.
So you think he's got to stay with that character kind of for the foreseeable future?
Instead of turning it down, man, he's got to pump it up.
Okay.
That's what he's got to do.
I like that.
He's got to stay with the music, man. The music is going to take him, places he never could, it's going to get him in doors that he never could have got in himself. When Elias walks up, only thing people are going to have to know is when they see a guy with the scarf and that beard.
Yeah.
Let him in. You know what I mean? That right there is a VIP anywhere in the world. Let him in. What are you drinking, sir? That's the treatment that Elias is going to get around the world if he just sticks to what he's doing right now. And I'm sure right now when Elias walk, a lot of people want to follow. When Elias, walks into place right now, people recognize that's that guy. They may not even know what his name is, but they say, that guy, he looks like somebody. He's got to be a star. Wait a minute.